Okay, folks. Another early day. Technically speaking, I guess I got out of the house early enough, so hopefully gonna be getting there to work. Maybe a few minutes early, or failing that, at least on time. But anyways, it's day 157 of Nofap, and last night I literally didn't get anything done. I was just way too tired, and I kind of thought maybe even stupidly, I don't know, but I thought that I'll just take a few hour nap, right? Then I'll get up in a few hours, and it might be late, might be at night, but I'll get up and I'll do my work then. I'll be better rested or whatever. And it was like, nah, just passed out and slept close to it was like 11 and a half, almost 12 hours. So obviously I feel really well rested, but this is also a sign that I really wasn't getting the kind of rest that I should be getting if it goes on for that long. And even then, after I got up, I still felt like man, I would have preferred staying in bed for another 3 to 4 hours, to be honest with you. But like I said, I didn't get anything done, but hopefully tonight I can, because like I said, I'll have this rest already. Even though I would have loved 3 to 4 more hours, but hopefully I can get on top of things with that. Even though according to my schedule, the thing that I would have needed to have gotten done tonight, it being moved to Sunday night. Still, if I could get the current in-class activity done that I was working on, current as in according to my schedule, and then get the next one done, maybe even work on the one that we're technically speaking going to be assigned tonight. That'd be great, but we'll see how heavy the workload is today, and if I end up having the ability to sort of sit down for a bit and sort of trim my way through the in-class activity, maybe I'll get it done by the end of today. And if I do, by the end of today, I mean like by the end of the workday. If I do, then maybe I can go get that other one done tonight, and then I'll be pretty much like up to where the class is at. So we'll see. I know by the end of the week I want to be caught up on all that sort of stuff and getting into some more of the worked exam problems, because I have done a few of them, but I haven't done all of them, and I'm sure like some of them are probably pretty simple, especially if they're the earlier material, but really wanting to get on top of all of that sort of stuff for obvious reasons. What the hell? I'm sorry. Almost dropped an F-bomb there. I don't know what some of these drivers are thinking they're doing on the road, because it's like, you're going along like at 65 or 70, and then they just, for whatever reason, like somebody is probably like 5 or 6 cars up, slams on their brakes, so they're not like watching when they're switching lanes or something. It's just like, if you're gonna get out on the road like that, like even myself with my phone on like this, like I'm not constantly looking at the screen, I'm focusing on the road, because I've had enough times, like especially even like yesterday, I did record another video, but I ended up deleting it. It was just like kind of like me rambling for about 40 minutes, but I'm driving along, and like there were a couple of cases along there where like, somebody decided to slam on the brakes like 5 or 6 cars up, and then it started turning into a pile up, and then I had to try to compensate. You know, it's like you compensate when you're braking, because you know, physics-wise, it's not like, you know, the vast majority of cars out there are going to stop on a dime. You know, you have to like stop significantly further back in order to compensate for the fact that it takes some time for friction to do its work and, you know, reduce your rate of forward motion to zero, you know, to the point where you don't move anymore. And that's why, you know, you can't be waiting until the last minute to brake and that sort of thing. And it's like I had to slam on the brakes a few times, and it was like, I don't know, it's really got on my nerves, because, you know, there were cars behind me, and like there were a couple times where they almost, they could have, you know, ended up hitting me, because I was having to compensate for somebody else's screw up, you know, 5 or 6 cars up. I don't know, but anywho, so I think the only thing I could really talk about, maybe not the only thing, but just had some weird dreams last night. I don't know, I mean, the memory of them is kind of fading right now, but it had to do with like going back to my old workplace. Like, you know, I kind of been in contact with the old boss, thinking about going back, but then like things kind of got straightened out at the new place, so then I was like, nah, not gonna go do that. And it was this whole sort of dream about me doing like part-time work over there while staying at this, you know, new place, and just everything being like really wonky and weird, you know, as they usually are in dreams. Like, your dreams may reflect back some of reality, but I think a lot of times it's like, you know, they won't reflect back them 100%. It's like it was like just weird things out of place, and just people I didn't know showing up, and conversations, and just, yeah, my folks didn't look exactly like they looked in real life, you know. It was just weird. And then like I think the rest of it pretty much was me like trying to like, I think I was trying to get back home, but like, and not only did I keep getting lost, but it was sort of like there was some sort of malevolent force out to get me, and it was sort of like manifested different ways, and it was trying to like, almost like trying to get me to drive off a cliff or something, which I somehow succeeded in not doing. But I don't remember if I got home exactly, if I just like, yeah, there's another scene where I was like in a hotel, where I was like going to a hotel room, and it was like some weird people showing up, and like we all had to like share the same room or something, or the same suite. I think that's kind of like when I woke up, if I remember correctly. But it's just like all these like really vivid dreams. And there was a scene in one of the dreams where like I was crushing on some girl who actually is in my class. I mean, and I've had her in other classes before, and I mean, I did think she was attractive, but I never really had like feelings for her. But it was this whole thing where it was kind of like, I think she was almost standing as an analog for, or an equivalent for, the girl at work. And it was like this whole, I don't know, it was weird. It was weird. Yep. Slept 11 and a half hours and I'm still tired. But I'm actually feeling physically better. Yeah. And I don't know about that dream. That was just weird. It's like, you know, you get long enough on Nofap, and I don't know if it's a neurochemical thing per se. I mean, maybe, you know, you have certain folks who want to talk about things like the pineal gland, or, you know, I don't know, what is it like? Have you tried TNT, bro? You know, they get into that kind of topic of discussion. And I definitely know, like, you know, your brain does produce certain like neurotransmitters, these chemicals. And, there's talk about like, DMT, and this is where it's like one of the main chemicals or neurochemicals behind like, your ability to have dreams. And, once it builds up, or that or some, I don't know if it's that, or if it's serotonin, or is it, what's the other one? Dopamine. I think it's dopamine, serotonin, or DMT, or something like that. But these different neurochemicals, and they build up to a certain point. That's when you end up having dreams. And I kind of wonder, like, what's going on Nofap, like, how that affects those levels. Because honestly, like, when I get far enough along, I start having, more and more of these vivid dreams. And some of them obviously reflect back reality, or things that have happened. Some of them are perhaps something deeper that I maybe stuff from childhood or adolescence or young adulthood, years ago, or perhaps it's like something more, even more like primordial. I don't know, but yeah, it's a question. It's a question I have. How does like Nofap affect all of that? But beyond that, the other thing that I would want to talk about, and it was kind of like this morning, because I got up and I got up around 6, and yeah, I'm still yawning, but I went and used the restroom, got all the morning stuff done pretty much. I mean, as much as one can get when you're on a time crunch, but as I was heading back, to my room to grab my stuff, get all, dressed up and all that, the guy from across the room, he got up, and I thought at first maybe I'd woken him up and he's going to be like complaining or whatever, but no, he just shuffled along. But the thing I was thinking about was, he's an older guy. I think one of my housemates is like, I think in his 20s or so. He's in college and then undergrad, and then like the guy across from me, middle-aged guy, been here for a while. I think he moved into the room that the other guy moved out of. There have been 2 guys who have moved, I don't know, 3 guys who have moved out of the house, but the guy across from me used to be the guy named Jose, and there was some guy named Wayne, or I don't know the other guy's name, but or Brian, I don't know, but the guy who moved into Jose's old room, like, he shoveled past me, and I got this thought in my head of like, this idea of like, make better decisions when you're younger, so you don't have regrets when you're older. Because I don't know, from what little like I know of him or his life, like it seems like some stuff went wrong along the way, like it does for a lot of us. And I don't know if that's just because of the area we're living in, you have more folks living in situations like that. Like I think there are a couple like halfway houses around here, but I haven't really paid attention to that kind of stuff per se. But I don't know, for some reason that thought went across my mind, and I was sort of like reflecting on some of the things that I've done in my life that have caused me to have regrets at this age, and things that I'm working on, or stuff that I'm taking advantage of in terms of opportunities, and like the remaining years of my youth, so to speak. So that, assuming I'm looking back 10 years or 15 or 20 or 30 years in the future, I don't have all those regrets of like, oh, what I could have, should have, would have done, in my youth, or what I could have done to, fix the mistakes of my youth, that sort of thing. Because, the area I'm living in, the cost of rent and all that sort of stuff, like it's such that like I can minimize my costs significantly to the point that I could be completely debt free, and I could have built up some wealth and all that stuff in a very short period of time if I play my cards right. and I see, all these other folks, middle-aged or older. I don't know if they have the opportunity to do the same thing or not, but I definitely know that they're not really in a good spot right now. Especially with all the stuff happening with like lockdowns and all that, because some folks out there have literally like lost their jobs because of that. And the older you get, the less opportunity you have to really bounce back from things financially and otherwise. This is why like a divorce for a guy in his 40s or 50s or 60s is so traumatic, because it's kind of like, if you end up losing everything at that point, like, how are you going to bounce back? Unless you have some successful family member who's willing to, stick it out for you, so to speak. Stick around basically, and stick out the tough times ahead, at that point, or stick out their neck for you, so to speak. Like, you really don't have typically that much of an opportunity to bounce back unless you've done extremely well for yourself, to the point that it's kind of like you have so much going on that even if the divorce took half, or even if you're, I don't know, if God forbid, like your business shut down or something like that, and you lost that business, you had so much stashed away, or you'd taken that money and invested it in enough of the right stocks or bonds, or real estate, or you diversified your portfolio. Maybe you got crypto, maybe you got gold and silver, whatever, to the point that you've got your sort of got your resources there to survive really, really heavy hit. Unless you're in that kind of situation, you think about it, it's like you gotta prepare for that kind of stuff, especially if you're looking to, I don't know, get married, or you're working in a industry or field where there's a lot of volatility. Because I don't know the guy's personal details entirely, but I mean, from what I gather, I think he works maybe part-time at, I don't know, some retail store. But it's kind of like, it's probably enough to cover rent and, basics of living, but, it's like, I kind of feel bad for someone in that spot. Not knowing all the details, obviously. I mean, you do have folks who end up like that who, at one point in time really had it going good for themselves, and then they did some really dumb stuff, like, I don't know, wasting all that money on expensive cars, or McMansions, or they got married to someone they really should have gotten married to, who clearly was bad for them. Someone who had substance abuse problems, or financial abuse problems, or was just there because this guy is making a decent living, and I could possibly benefit from that. That sort of a situation. And because they got into that sort of a scenario, they ended up suffering the consequences. And maybe there were folks along there who told them, hey, don't do that, that's not a good idea, you're going to end up in a bad spot, and they didn't listen, which, I've been that guy who didn't listen. I've been that guy who was getting all this great advice, being told not to mess this up. You got this great opportunity, and I messed it up. For reasons that don't make a lot of sense right now. So kind of taking all that stuff into consideration, I mean, this is why I, have to take care of my debts. I gotta get my finances straightened out. I have to take care of this class, even though, like last night I said I didn't get anything done. I fell asleep, and I was just exhausted. maybe the sleep deprivation from like the night before kind of caught up with me. But so I gotta take care of all these things, take care of my education, my class, and take care of my health best I can. Because it's like if I were to look forward 10 years in the future, you don't want to be sitting there as a type 2 diabetic, up to your eyeballs in debt, working the same old crummy job, and just feeling like the four walls of your life are kind of falling in on you because you didn't make better decisions when you were younger, when you had the opportunity to make those decisions. And as a result, you ended up facing a lot of really negative fallout from said decisions. So, wow, I'm making pretty good time. Usually, just like glancing at the timer for this video. Usually, I'd be at I think about 27 or 28, minutes. At this point, I'm about 2 miles out from the exit, and it's like at 21 and a half minutes right now, so making good time. And it's 5:52, or excuse me, not 5:52, 6:52 a.m., which means it's like 8 minutes until I would have to be there. So, assuming I keep going at this pace, I should be there, a few minutes early. And I forgot to go and request building access. I'll do that when I'm in the parking lot, but it shouldn't be that big of a deal, even if I have to wait a few minutes for it to process. Because I'll already be there, it's just be waiting outside. But yeah, we'll see how the day goes. Just trying to do what I gotta do to hold down this job and keep enough of those paychecks coming in, because I'm finally at a point where, even though I still got a significant amount to pay off, I can kind of see the end state. I kind of see the end state of being debt free. Because when I graduated, it was there were 9 student loan accounts open. There was my car loan. I had credit card debt, a significant amount of it, and it was one of those things that like I said, it snuck up on me because I was sort of sleepwalking through life, and then I was sitting there. I don't remember what day it was exactly, but it was sometime after I started working at the last job, so probably in September or October of 2019. And I, logged into my Credit Karma account, and I saw that, and it was just wait, I'm that much in debt, And, yeah, I also had, parking fines I needed to pay off, and all that sort of stuff, and, again, I don't want to, imagine, how much further on I'd be if I didn't have those parking fines, but, needless to say, that's when I really started, taking account of things. And that's right around the time that I went and got that copy of Dave Ramsey's Total Money Makeover, and I just started working my way through that, and started changing my mindset, my approach to money and debt and finances and wealth. Because it's one thing to say I want to be rich, or I want to be wealthy, or want to be successful. It's another thing to actually go sit down there and hash out how you're actually going to do that whole process. Kind of like getting into shape. You can say that all you want to. You can imagine yourself standing there with the V-taper physique and six-pack and all that, but the actual process that you got to go through to get there, especially depending upon your age and where you're starting at. Yeah, bit more challenging than just, just wanting something. So, anywho, I think it's two more turns and I'll be in the parking lot. So, I don't really have much else to say. It's closing in on 7 a.m. and I'm gonna finish recording and then I'll upload this video. So, for those who are watching, thanks for watching, and I'll see you folks around. Bye bye.